If you look at the rate of growth in the last 20 years, we've had the same rate of growth. So if McAllen started out larger, they've continued to grow. Harlingen started out at the same, and they've continued to grow at the same rate. So we are growing, and to put that into better perspective, we have the second highest retail sales tax of any city in the valley. Our sales tax is higher per capita than Brownsville's is. We're second only to McAllen. We spent the last 5 years creating 3,500 new jobs here in Harlingen. We've cut our unemployment rate by half, from 11.5% to 5.5%. We've developed over 500,000 square feet of new retail in our community, like Bass Pro Shop and Sam's. We now have 4 years of over $1 billion in retail sales tax that only McAllen and Brownsville are the only other two cities in our community that can say that, or in the region. So we've also continued to dramatically reduce our crime rates here in Harlingen, and we've expanded our parks. We've kept our tax rate low. We have a 20% lower tax rate than the 9 major communities in Cameron County and most of the major communities in Hidalgo County. So the platform is to keep that going, to add more jobs, to add more retail, to expand our partnership with UTRGV, the 41-acre campus that we have here that's part of the School of Medicine. So we're excited about doing all those things. The convention center is part of an overall strategy, right, of bringing more people to the community. So if you want to see more people come into Harlingen, you want to see more people utilize our community as a central location, then the convention center can do that. But it's not just the convention center. It's about creating jobs. It's about continuing to build on our retail sales tax base. It's continuing to create a great quality of life for people who want to live here in Harlingen. We've accomplished the creation of a School of Medicine. That 41-acre campus here in the heart of our medical district is now part of UTRGV. That was a huge challenge, but it's actually part of the School of Medicine, and it will have a lot of other opportunities as we go forward, as we can see partnerships continuing to develop with UTRGV. We continue to want to make retail an important part of our community and to attract those things. We've done some big things like Bass Pro Shop, like Sam's, like a lot of new restaurants and retail opportunities. So those are the kinds of things that you see as opportunities, and you seize those opportunities, you embrace them, and you bring them into our community. The modern thinking about storms is evacuation. I mean, that's really the main idea, is we want to evacuate people from the area, and that's what the state is telling us that needs to be done. I think we have had very successful partnerships with the school district in being able to provide some shelter during the recovery area in the recovery process. But you know, one of these single domes can't really hold everybody. Well, I think my record of leadership and results in the community, my commitment to the community, my desire to continue to serve the community is what I want to offer to the community. I want to see more of what we've done over the last 5 years. More job growth, more retail sales tax growth, more partnerships with UTRGV and the School of Medicine, and to continue to be a safe and great place to live.
Since I want to say 2009 till now, we've had over 10,000 people actually leave the city. And these are facts from the Census Bureau. And the problem is, one, is there's no jobs here. So what's happening is the kids are graduating college down here, but they're getting jobs up in Austin, Dallas, Houston, even out of state. And they're getting, you know, pretty good jobs. So what happens is that they have their mom and dad probably retired or getting close to retirement. So they say, Mom and Dad, come on, live with us. Right? So the mom and dad leave, you know. So it's just a domino effect. The city of Harlingen is still pushing retail and real estate deals when we should be concentrating on industry, manufacturing plants, businesses that will bring down technology, textile mills, whatever it is, to bring here to Harlingen so that the people here will have better jobs when they do graduate college, especially with degrees. But even then, the people here that live here have better jobs that start at maybe $14, $15 an hour. And then you have a housing crisis here. We haven't had a new subdivision being built for a long time. So there's just a multitude of problems. We tried to do our best for the 3 years that we were there. And I would have really expected the commission, after we left, to keep going in the right direction, but they haven't. They stopped, and we've become completely stagnant. Every other city has it, but the domes are used for health and safety for natural disasters like hurricanes. But there's not a dome here. Mercedes right now is going to build a dome. This administration refuses to go after the dome that FEMA is offering, because the dome, I have no idea why. Because Los Fresnos has one, La Feria's got two, Brownsville has one, Mercedes is getting one, FAR's got one. Up and up down the valley, they're all getting one. Okay, but except for us. So, and this is a very important issue. And the reason why I say that, because these domes, when they're not being in use for, natural disaster like a hurricane, you can use the domes any way you want to. So if you want to turn it into a civic center, you want to turn it into a conference hall, you can do anything you want. The Hotel Convention Center that they plan on building, you're talking about maybe $16 or $17 million total. They tell you it's 14.9, but being on the commission, experience has told me, or has taught me, that it's always more than 14.9. The money being spent could have been used for better wages for city employees, firefighters, police department. It could have been used to buy equipment that the police department and the firefighters need. If you're elected to office, your responsibility is to the taxpayers, not to special interest groups. Okay, not to businesses that want to come down here, wine and dine, and then take everything you're going to offer for free. You have to be wise and a little bit smart on what you do. If it doesn't benefit the taxpayer, doesn't benefit the city, why do it? And that's the bottom line. That's why I don't look at myself as a politician. I look at myself as a public servant. But that's what I did when I was a city commissioner, and that's what I'll continue to do as mayor of the city of Harlingen. And that is the most important thing. And I will have an open door policy. Anybody can come and talk to me anytime.
For the city of Harlingen, I retired as a lieutenant and as a private investigator with my own company. In trying to do the right stuff, there's a lot of things going on in Harlingen that are good and bad for the city. Obviously, we have a lot of growth potential, but I don't think that the present leadership that we have, especially when you get entrenched in politics, takes a long time. To get out of the rut and start looking at opportunities. And people in Harlingen, say, well, there's nothing to do in Harlingen. There's no jobs. It's one of the poorest areas, high unemployment, etc. And then there's some things that are going on right now that behind the scenes, involving large amounts of money, millions of dollars, and there's no public input. You go to the citizens' meetings, and basically, you have 2 minutes to talk, and there's no public input or follow up afterwards. It's time that we change Harlingen, and the only way to change Harlingen is to change the entrenched leadership, which is, the mayor has a very important role in the city of Harlingen. not only because he's the chairman of the corporation of the city of Harlingen, but also because he makes major board appointments. You know, when we start talking about issues, you know, it's like spending, you know, Bass Pro Shops, but it cost us, it's going to cost us in the 20 years at least $80 million. That's what it's been estimated at. And, you know, basically there was no input into that. And it's a losing proposition. And then we have the Baxter building, which I was on the board on the Baxter building. And I was the sole board member that voted against the Baxter building. There is a 4B quality of life board. That's the easiest way to describe it. It's called the Community Improvement Board. And I'm sitting there in executive session and I'm listening, you know, to the presentation by the mayor, and I'm saying to myself, I said, this doesn't make sense, you know. And in the long run, through the investigation that followed, I found out that, you know, that it didn't make sense. It's going to cost us too much money. We're competing way too much in the valley. So in order to have a successful convention center, we're going to have the right personnel on board. And again, it's going to cost more than the actual building of the convention center because it's going to take personnel to staff it. And, you know, and we're going to have to fight with the other cities like Brownsville, McAllen, the island, even Westlaco and Edinburgh, you know. We're going to have to fight with them in regards to the to bringing in conventions. 74,000 population. Okay, now when the census count came out, it was actually at 64,000. So we overestimated the census for a period of about 6-8 years by at least 10,000 inhabitants. And you know, there's no real explanation other than other cities are seeing the growth, and Harlingen, you know, what happened to 10,000 people? That's way an overestimation. Well, we're going to have to provide entertainment. We're going to have to fund some of the projects that we have adopted.
The downtown has been dead for years, dilapidated. It's starting to improve. I would do a lot of things different, but I still applaud those who've worked really hard to get it where it's at. And to bring low-income housing into Harlingen, downtown, would harm the businesses that are there now. It's counterproductive and it's detriment. I don't think Harlingen needs to become like Harlingen. Harlingen needs to be Harlingen. Harlingen's got resources that no other city in the valley has. We have a port. Except for Brownsville, which has a deep water port, no one else has a port. We have an airport that's underutilized. We have over 2,000 acres on the west side of the airport that are perfectly primed for industry. We have lots of educational resources that other communities don't have, and we're the hub of the valley. Once the valley's leading community, Harlingen can be and should be the capital of the Rio Grande Valley once again. But we need the leadership to get us there. When I was a kid and we had Hurricane Beulah, which was one of the ones that did a lot of damage, my uncle used to work at the newspaper, the Baltimore Star. So we able to live out there. Harlingen does not need an emergency dome, I don't think. We may need to review our emergency preparedness planning, certainly, and evaluate where there's gaps, where there's deficiencies. But right now, based upon my experience of growing up here and going through 4 or 5 hurricanes during the course of my life, I would say no, we don't need it. Community economic development, what does that mean? One, I want to do revitalization of the core of the city. And I have a detailed plan of how I want to get that done. If you're not from the valley, you may not know Harlingen as well as some of us, but just in the neighborhoods just north of here, go by and look at the condition of the housing stock. Look at the condition of the businesses. The 1969 comprehensive plan talked about Harlingen needed to clean up the core of its city and to do away with substandard developments. This is 45, 50 years later, and we haven't done it yet. We take our resources and we spend it elsewhere. So the first thing I want to do is I want to work with the community, and I want to say, okay, we've wasted $52 million at Bass Pro, and our economic development corporations are just about bankrupt. So the resources aren't there. Where can we find the resources to do it? One, we've got our 4B Economic Development Corporation. We can use some of those resources. Two, I talked to you about this. Our CBDG funds are being wasted. Now the federal government has cut them in half, so we don't have as much as we used to have, but we have enough to make some targeted improvements. So that's the first thing, revitalization. There are several businesses that I'd like to see relocated out to the port. The second thing is quality jobs. I talked to you about the Aerotropolis. That's out east of the airport. With SpaceX, United Launch Alliance, Blue Origin, and many other space and aeronautic related companies in the region, there is no excuse for us not to be making an aggressive campaign to be bringing companies here, because we've got the land available, we've got companies that need their services and their goods. So those are the two most important things to me: revitalization and economic development, bringing in quality primary jobs.